Hello everyone, I'm Salima and in this video I'm going to show you a game that was played in the series The Queen's Gambit by Beth Harmon against Harry Beltik. So a few months ago I've already shown you the game that Harmon played against Borgoff. If you haven't seen it, I'm going to leave the link to the video in the pinned comment. And today we're going to see this very interesting game. So Harmon was playing with the white pieces and it was actually her very first tournament, and Beltik was the strongest player there, and she really wanted to play him and, of course, beat him. So let's see if she managed to do that. She started the game with the move e4, and Beltik was late to the game by a few minutes. Apparently, he underestimated Harmon because, first of all, he arrived late, and he was also yawning in the beginning of the game. So he was probably thinking that Harmon is just another amateur who doesn't really know how to play chess. But let's see how Harmon reacted to this kind of attitude. So he moved c6, which is the Carcan defense. Knight f3. A more popular move is d4, but knight f3 is possible as well. Now d5. Let me turn the stockfish on if you want to see like the main lines. Knight c3. Now bishop g4. If d4, which it seems like a good move because after all you're attacking the knight on c3, but then there is knight c2, and after c5 you have to protect this pawn because it's attacked here. After c5 there is, for example, knight g3, and then you can just develop your bishop, move d3 and develop your other bishop, and you'll just have a very good position. And yeah, these pawns, they look like they're strong but not really. Okay, so bishop g4, pinning the knight. Now h3, bishop takes f3, queen takes f3, e6. Now g3. A more popular move is bishop e2 in order to castle, but Harmon's idea was to move g3 and then bishop g2 to have a fianchettoed bishop. Now g6, the same idea from Beltik. A more popular move is knight f6 or knight d7. Yeah, so g6, moving the pawns and weakening the squares. Like, yeah, it's not the best move. Bishop d2, bishop g7, castle, knight d7. Perhaps knight e7 was better in order to castle as soon as possible. But yeah, knight d7 is also a good move. Now queen e2, preparing f4 and attacking the black king. d4, attacking the knight. The pretty much only square for the knight is b1. If knight a4, then just b5 and the knight is lost. So knight b1, e5, d3, preparing to bring the knight back to the game, and then develop the bishop. Now knight e7, f4, queen c7, e4. Now, yeah, this move, it's not a bad move, but perhaps what Harmon wanted is just to attack on both sides of the chessboard so that it would be harder for Beltik to protect. Now, castle, f5, Harmon attacks and attacks and attacks. Now, of course, g takes f5 is not really a good decision because after e takes f5, there might be some threats of f6, although now the square is protected. It's sort of dangerous because the queen can start attacking, and then h4, h5, h6. Yeah, so it wouldn't be a very comfortable position for black. So that's why after f5, black moves f6, knight d2, bishop h6. Now king h2, protecting this pawn in case it gets attacked. Now king h8, moving the king away to protection. F takes g6, h takes g6. Now, what Harmon wants is to somehow open this line to start attacking on the h file. Now knight f3, bishop takes c1, rook takes c1, and as you can see, the knight is slowly coming to the king. The bishop here can also start attacking. The queen, it can come somehow like this. The rooks. So yeah, it can be quite dangerous for black to play this. Now knight c5, c3. Now if knight takes a4, then c takes d4, and knight takes e4, and there will be a threat of a fork, and the knight is just quite active here. So that's why Beltik doesn't take on a4. He moves knight b3, attacking the rook. Now rook c1, sorry, rook c d1. Now rook a d8, knight h4, braining the knight. Now the knight here can't really move. Well, he doesn't have a lot of squares, but in the future, if this pawn doesn't get protected, then the knight will be just stuck here because there will be a threat. So queen c8. Beltik is trying to do something with his queen because the queen here is just super passive. It's not doing anything. Now bishop f3, perhaps with the idea of bishop d4, activating the bishop as well. Queen a6, bishop g4. Now queen f7, trying to move the queen into the protection. After all, it's better placed here than it is here. Now knight f3, threatening to take this pawn on e5. So for example, if black just does nothing, then there will be either knight g5 with the threat of bring the knight to e6, or even if that wasn't possible, there's still this move, which is good as well. So that's why Beltik moves queen g8, h4, with the idea of h5, now king g7, rook f2, with the idea of doubling the rooks on the f-file and further attacking the pawn on f6. Now rook d6, that is a bad move because after rook df1, there is again the threat of knight takes e5, and if takes, and then yeah, that would be a bad position. And so Baltic has to return with this rook. Now the position is real good for Harmon, but she makes a mistake, which is queen c2. She could have pushed the pawn h5, and the black king would just be awfully placed there. But yeah, she didn't notice the move. She moved queen c2, and b6. Here she moved now h5. Um, if like c4 would probably be a better decision to push the pawns and create some problems for black on both sides of the chessboard. But yeah, h move is a good move as well. Now c5, h takes g6, d takes c3, b takes c3. Now c4, d4, e takes d4, c takes d4. Now c takes d4 is actually a mistake because it was better to move knight h4. Yes, we don't really care about this one because now the knight here is very strong. Like yeah, this the knight can't really take the pawn on g6 because the knight will come to f5, and yeah, that would be just a terrible position for black. But yeah, Harmon took the pawn. Now knight takes e4, and here Harmon probably thought that she was in trouble because here she left for the bathroom, saying "be right back." And yeah, her reaction was like she thought that she was lost, but actually it's a drawn position. Now she took the knight on d4 when she came back from the bathroom. Rook takes e4. Now e5. If the pawn takes, then well, it's sort of a bad position for black. Yeah, because there is a check, and there will be a checkmate in 16 moves here. So f5. Now bishop takes f5. Queen d5, and now here Harmon finds a brilliant move, which is bishop e6. Now yeah, of course, the bishop can be taken. Now rook h8, which is the only good move. Now bishop h3, because the king can't move because of the checkmates. Now bishop h3. Knight takes g6, which is a mistake. A better move would be rook d3, blocking the queen away. And now everything that could be achieved here is a draw. Yeah, because there isn't actually anything here. But knight takes g6 was a huge mistake. And now rook f7. If queen takes f7, then rook takes f7, king takes. And it looks like, after all, black has two rooks for the queen, but here the position is really bad now. Bishop f5, and sooner or later the knight will be locked. There's also a passed pawn here. Yeah, so it would be a bad position. But after king h6, it's even a worse position because here Harmon sacrificed her queen. And here Harmon said, "Do you see it now? Or should we finish this on the board?" And Baltic resigned here in this position because after king takes g6, there's rook f6, king h5, rook f5, king h6, rook f6, king h7, rook h5, king g8, rook g5, and a very beautiful checkmate. So I think that this sacrifice of the queen is a very, very beautiful tactic, and it shows that Harmon, well, she practices tactics. She can see them on the board, and I think it's something that we should all learn in chess to notice these kinds of patterns and sacrifices, and that way our games will become way more beautiful. So I honestly think that this game is very, very beautiful, played by Harmon. And yeah, thank you everyone who watched this video until the end, and goodbye.